All right, guys. I really didn't want to have to do this, but this is just next level bizarre. What the United States is doing right now is basically they're trying to say, sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera. What they're basically saying now is that Venezuela deserved to have their presidents, basically their whatever they're calling their version of Air Force One, seized by the United States. And these two reporters are about to come on and explain to you why that's totally okay for the United States to set that order. Um, and let's just enjoy it. It's buffering right now, so I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get to the video.
Breaking news, some exclusive live pictures that we're showing you right now of the seized plane belonging to Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Maduro, we should note, is not on board, but the plane was seized by officials for violating U.S. sanctions. CNN's Kylie Atwood joins me now. Kylie, this is pretty extraordinary. This does not happen, obviously, every day where U.S. authorities.
And here's this very play. I got a perfect capture of her face right now because she knows she's about to sell us an entire plateful of the S word or the G word or the T word, or there's a whole bunch of words that she's about to try and sell us, and none of them are good.
Go in and seize the plane of a head of state. But that is essentially what's happened this morning. Can you break this down for us?
Yeah, exactly. So the plane of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, is now in the hands of the United States. As you can see there, those images demonstrate that it has just landed.
Look at how she has to. I got a perfect capture of her face again. Look at how she's has to lay out the whole foundation of it because I don't know how many Americans really know who Nicolas Maduro is. All right, let's get back to it. Forget it. Forget it. I'm gonna keep trying to pause on these awesome blinking shots of hers.
In Florida. It was seized by U.S. authorities in the Dominican Republic. That is according to multiple U.S. officials who spoke with our colleague Priscilla Alvarez about this. And how this all came to fruition, Jim, is that this plane was in the Dominican Republic in recent months. We don't know exactly why, but that presented the opportunity for U.S. authorities to work with authorities in the Dominican Republic to actually make up a plan and seize the plane. And
so they made up a plan to seize the plane, but not in any point of this has she told us, correct me if I'm wrong, not at any moment in this has she told us why, right? Other than the word sanctions, which might have been used already, right? There it is, violated sanctions. So why they violated sanctions? What does that mean? What does that really mean? What's the granular detail of that? No, she's all she's done is just completely sensationalized the whole thing so far, in my opinion.
just to give folks context, this plane is effectively the Air Force One of.
I thought I actually tried to give her some credit. She said just for context. She didn't give the context I thought she was going to give. Let's see. Let's just. All right. I'm gonna shut up.
Venezuela. This is a plane that cost about $13 million, the U.S. estimates. It's been used by Maduro to travel around the world, to make visits, to see.
Planes expensive. Maduro travel around the world flying.
Other world leaders and the like. It's now in the hands of the U.S. government. It's an extraordinary move. The U.S. has for years been trying.
God, the U.S. is so cool.
To disrupt the flow of goods and finances, money going into Venezuela, for example. They have disrupted.
All right, so things aren't allowed to go into Venezuela. Things are allowed to go into the United States. Okay.
Luxury cars going into the country. But we should note that this is just such a bold move because. And finances, money going into Venezuela, for example. They have disrupted luxury cars going into the country. But we should note that this is just such a bold move because, according to one of those U.S. officials who spoke with our colleague, this is unheard of and sends a signal that no one is out of the reach of U.S. sanctions. So they clearly.
And there's the most unhinged part of her entire testimony. Just saying no one's out of the reach of U.S. sanctions. And so they're basically forcing Venezuela's hand here because now they have to respond, and we're gonna have to see how they do that. But stealing a president's airplane is a very silly move in 2024. This is a very dumb move. She calls it a bold move. It's only bold because it's stupid.
Clearly had their eye on this plane for a while that was being used by the president of Venezuela, and now it is in U.S. custody. Now, the process here is that now that it is in the United States, Venezuela can petition for the plane. So we'll watch and see what happens there. But also,
They can petition for the plane. Oh, yay. You're going to have a little petition for the plane. So amazing. And so she just with a straight face says she's going to. Venezuela can petition for their own plane, guys. Just remember. Okay, just imagine if you are a person and you have violated some arbitrary thing that doesn't really apply to you. It only gets arbitrarily enforced, right? Which means it's not a real thing. It's just a tactic powerful entities use to scare people. It's the same conversation as I have with people about censorship. If you're not getting censored, that doesn't mean censorship isn't happening, right? And I'll quote Jon Stewart here, just in the same way that just because it's not raining where you are doesn't mean the rest of the world isn't flooding. So you have to think about how these things apply to us equally. And if you don't think about how they apply equally, then you're not really thinking about them from a good starting point. And people refuse to do that. You should see some of the comments on the CNN page. They're like, oh, what is his car? Is it like a Kia Sorento? Bro, you're dumb. If that's your level of engagement with something as serious as this, you're a dumb person. You're a dumb person. You deserve to know that. You should know that you're stupid. You're a stupid person for trivializing matters like this and not fully understanding them. And this lady, I mean, I'm just saying she's just not giving you the full context. She says the word context. It's amazing. She says the word context in the video, and at no point does she provide context insofar. So I'm gonna stop, and we'll get back to it.
Also, the United States can collect evidence from the plane. We just saw some folks heading into the plane, U.S. authorities heading in there with what appeared to be a recording device. They'll be able to...
A recording device? Oh my God. Did she just say that they're going to have some kind of recording device? That's amazing. My God. Hang on, I have to record this. Remind me to look into recording devices, voice recorder, and how do I use this? What is this? Somebody help me. How do these people put their pants on in the morning? That's what I want to know. They sound this stupid on television, and they're afforded very real leverage, which they get to use against the public, right? She's telling the public what's happening without explaining in much detail why it's happening. And now she's saying to us that they brought on some kind of recording device. Oh God, you're so fucking official sounding. Recording devices are everywhere. That's interesting. Sorry. All right, let's get back to the content, guys. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get through this whole thing. It's 5 minutes. I feel like I've wasted so much time on it already.
Collect evidence in terms of what the president of Venezuela was doing potentially on that plane. We'll watch and see how this all unfolds.
Was he sitting?
Yeah.
Was he sitting?
Kylie, we do want to emphasize to our
Was he standing? I have to know if he was sitting or standing.
viewers, you are looking at live exclusive pictures right now, or almost live. It happened just a little while ago, of these law enforcement officials.
Jim Acosta almost lying.
These are live pictures, as a matter of fact, of these.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now he's told us the truth. They are live. We've now determined that we're live, everyone.
Law enforcement officials sort of circling this plane, going in and out of this plane. It's landed in Fort Lauderdale right now, but as Kylie was saying a few moments ago.
There it is. All right, I was trying to. Oh, they got both of them blinking. I got both of them blinking.
It was seized in the Dominican Republic. And Kylie, as you were saying, this is a very aggressive move on the part of the Biden administration to go and do this while Venezuela is in the middle of a lot of police.
Hey, Jim. We know it's a bold move. This is what governments who are at the end of their rope in terms of political leverage do, is they do violent, reckless things thinking that they're going to bring about some kind of recompense. They're not. We all know it, and so do you. You should get that checked out, by the way. That thing on your face.
Political turmoil right now.
That's right. So we just had the elections in Venezuela over the summer. U.S. officials were highly concerned about the results of those elections, how those elections unfolded, calling into question the fact that Maduro came out victorious in those elections. So the fact that...
All right, so let's just repeat what she said here. She said, I have to listen to it again. I'm sorry. It was amazing, but let's just watch it again.
Venezuela over the summer, U.S. officials were highly concerned about the results of those elections.
Okay, so they were concerned about the elections.
How those elections unfolded.
Okay.
Calling into question the fact that Maduro came out victorious in those elections.
And now they're upset. Now they reveal the whole thing is that they're upset that Maduro won the election. The people who have been touting, have been making fun of election deniers for the last several years are now doing literally the exact same thing. They're denying an election of Venezuela, and she's not presenting any evidence whatsoever. She hasn't presented any evidence. I mean, it's such a brilliant thing that they're doing. Evidence free. Again, all they've done is talk about what's happened. They haven't talked about anything, really. There's no context. We can go back through this video as many times as you want. You can find this video on the internet. It's super easy. It's got 1.2 million views, the CNN video. So just unbelievable.
The fact that they have seized this plane sort of builds on the tension that has only been escalating in recent years between the United States and Venezuela. Of course.
And finally, that's it. It's just building on the tension. So they want Venezuela to respond. The United States would love to expand their wars publicly south. If they could expand their wars publicly south, oh my God. Oh my God, how happy would they be? Because they usually have to do things covertly. The U.S. I mean, that's normally what they're doing, right? They're covertly, pulling strings and machining and assassinating people, whack. I mean, look at what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to recognize Juan Guaido as the new president. They even have color revolutions in these countries. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not really sure what to say anymore. It's satire. And it's disappointing. These journalists are disappointing. And this person, Kylie, incredibly disappointing. Even more disappointing. The most disappointing person I've ever seen showed up on my feed today. Thanks to Caitlin Johnston, by the way. Fantastic writer. Who just mentioned it. And I watched Kylie I watched them on a different program, right? And what happened? They said the exact same thing. They said the exact same thing. It's no different. Their rubric is no different in terms of what they're trying to sell the American public. That's Kylie's job, is to sell you that this is okay. It's crazy. I'm in Boynton right now. By the way, I'm like 40 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale. It's pretty wild to think that this is happening. You know, within the last day, the United States seized another country's president's plane, an asset of theirs. It's I mean, the moral integrity failings of the U.S. empire have no limits.
Of course, there have been some cooperation between the two countries in terms of a prisoner swap that we saw recently. But beyond that is a really tense relationship. And the Biden administration making it very clear that they are not going to
Who are the prisoners?
hold back. They're going to go after Maduro and really try and seize anything he has in terms of incoming revenue, and all of that enable him to travel around the world. Now,
She doesn't even say that enable or prevent him from doing illegal things. All she's saying, she's literally just saying to prevent him from traveling. She's saying it with a straight face. And Jim Acosta, look at him. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the, he's probably disappointed that he has to live into this level of toxic acidity. It's just a plague of myopic, narrow-minded positions and ideas that these U.S. I don't even know who this person is, but for them to come on this network and say so authoritatively these things without explaining really anything is an embarrassment.
Now no longer able to do that on this plane.
And you were just saying a few moments ago, this is that country's version of Air Force One, and so this is not a small thing. And Kylie, what are these police officers doing out?
That's the type of sentence you say after you've been rewarded for saying sentences like that your entire life.
Outside the plane right now, you can see several officers going in and out of the plane. They're taking pictures.
They're
Those aforementioned recording devices.
collecting evidence, Jim, and so we don't know exactly what they're going to find on that plane.
Oh God, it's such a dangerous plane. Look at it. Oh man, they have 3 of those turbine thingies. Ugh. T7 Espert. What is that? Is that some kind of terrorist logo? T7 Espert terrorism?
There are still some questions that we're looking to learn in terms of why this plane was sitting in the Dominican Republic for a number of months here. But it is noteworthy that the authorities from the DR did work with the United States on these efforts. We don't know the last time that Maduro was on this plane. We do know, as I said.
I'm sorry, I'm speeding it up because I can't tolerate this anymore. The only thing that she cares about is that the DR authorities worked with U.S. officials. That's the only thing she cares about, is that people were loyal to U.S. interests and that you will be rewarded and mentioned favorably publicly if you work with U.S. officials, as you should. Look at them. Look at how happy they are. Look at how happy they are.
That there are images of him traveling around the world, meeting with world leaders on this exact plane. So it'll be interesting to see what they find on board. Notes from
hasn't said anything again.
Those types of visits and the like, potentially. We'll just have to watch and see what investigators share with us. We have put in requests for comment from, of course, the Department of Justice, DHS, and the State Department to provide us with more context with regard to how this all came together.
All right, Kylie, thank you.
I'm really sorry. There's really disappointing and incredibly horrifying to hear that this is the level of dialogue. This is the caliber of dialogue that we have in the United States about literally seizing another president's airplane. There was no mention really as to why it's being seized, just nebulous comments to the legality of things, and really remarking on his capabilities with the airplane as opposed to why it was necessary for them to seize an airplane in the first place. It wasn't. That's why. And she has no answers for that. And she can't come on the network and say anything against CNN, or she can't say anything against the state because she'll lose her job. That's how it is, Kylie. You'll lose your job. I get it. So, anyway, just remember, these people aren't going to tell you the truth when it comes to this kind of stuff. They'll tell you the truth on like thunderstorms and, is there a murder or whatever, is a serial killer, that kind of stuff. But they're not going to tell you the truth about why empires do what they do. Have a nice day.